Hello, so today's video is all about this, the Polar Verity Sense. It's an arm heart rate monitor and I've had it now for a year, so I'm going to tell you about how I've been using it to do my zone 2 training and ultimately get faster in my running. So I'm going to get this on and let's go for a run to park run while we talk about it. So yes, it's Nick here from NRG Runs, and today is all about the benefits of zone 2 training and how I've used my arm heart rate monitor to make sure I'm staying in zone 2 and getting that benefit. It's been a long time thinking about making this video, so we're finally here today to do it. And I just want to first off start by talking about some of the key features of the Polar Verity Sense armband. So it's a heart rate monitor, but instead of it going on your chest like many in the past, it goes on your arm. The Verity Sense can actually be used on your forearm, but usually it's recommended to go on your bicep where you've got most contact with your skin. So I use mine on my bicep, and it's an optical monitor that it's using. So just like on your watch, it's got an optical sensor which traditionally have been less accurate than your chest monitors. But as many people have found, chest heart rate monitors aren't all that comfortable. So people are choosing armbands instead. And I am definitely a convert. It's so simple to put on, it's very comfortable. Once it's on there, you haven't really got to think about it. And yeah, I personally just prefer that to a chest band, which can kind of rub and get uncomfortable. I know for women as well, it can be particularly difficult. Also, when you're wearing something like this on a long run, it can kind of interfere with some of your straps. So yeah, that's just what works best for me as we cross this road. Sorry if it's a bit noisy today, but I did think I would do this running to park run and show you a bit of park run. So we've got to put up with the traffic rather than the trails. I've been testing this, as I say, for a year now, so I feel now is a good time to kind of talk about my reflections on it. I've been testing the battery life, obviously, and what I found typically is it's lasting for about 2.5 weeks before I then have to charge it. It comes with a separate charger which you have to slot the sensor into. There's definitely going to be ones out there with longer battery life, but for me, 2.5 weeks, I'm running sort of 5 to 6 times a week, maybe around sort of 5 hours a week at the moment. So I'm getting, I would say, sort of 12-13 hours from it comfortably. It says it can do more, it probably can do more, but anytime it says it's going a bit low on battery, you get a little notification when it's linked to your watch. I'm like, right, next time I'm home I will charge it. So for me, that is absolutely fine. And yeah, I mean, even when it's actually blinked to say it's got low charge, I found I've ran for another hour or maybe more and it's still working. So you know, even when you get that notification, I think you've got quite a lot more battery life left in it, but why take the risk when next time you're home you can put it on charge. So yeah, it's really convenient in that sense. I'm not charging it all the time and it's ready to go in no time at all. So a few things to know about the Polar Verity Sense. So you can use it with any watch. So it's just basically a Bluetooth connection, find the device, and then each time you go for a run you can change it on your watch from using the wrist-based heart rate monitor to your armband monitor. So yeah, you don't need to have a Polar watch or anything like that. I've got a Garmin and it works perfectly fine with that. And yeah, the only difference you're going to have before you start your run is you're just making sure it's connected to your armband. When you're then uploading your runs to whatever device you use, so Garmin Connect and through to Strava or whatever it might be that you have, it's already there in your data. It just pulls it in from the heart rate armband rather than your watch. So yeah, really simple and doesn't need any extra kind of compatibility or anything like that. Another benefit of using an arm heart rate band rather than your watch is you get to do things like this. Put it over your top on cold days rather than underneath, so it can measure your heart rate. But the big one has got to be accuracy. Now, the thing that you can have when you're using a watch with a heart rate sensor in it is it sometimes can lock onto your cadence, so the number of steps you're taking a minute. So say you're running 180 steps a minute, you might find your watch is saying you're running at 180 heart rate when you're probably not a lot of the time, unless you're running quite fast. So basically what I've found in terms of the difference between using my watch for heart rate and my armband is I'm just much more confident that it's accurate. I think I've not seen masses of difference in terms of kind of the heart rate data that I'm getting, but it's the peace of mind that what you're looking at is an accurate representation of your heart rate. There's been lots of tests in terms of the accuracy, how it compares with chest straps, and obviously compared to your watch, undoubtedly much more accurate than using your watch, but also very comparable with the chest straps as well. Again, have a look in the description, got a link to a few videos which go into this in more detail, but ultimately the only differences that you might see is sometimes if you're doing kind of short intervals, there's a little bit of a lag from when you start picking up the pace to how that reflects in your heart rate, but you're still getting accurate data. It's just not quite in sync with that moment. So why am I doing low heart rate training? Why am I focusing on zone 2? Well, there's so many benefits to low heart rate training and zone 2 running in general. Firstly, your body becomes more efficient at burning fat. So think when you're doing that marathon, you've only got a finite amount of glycogen and through carbohydrates, and so at some point you're going to run out of those carbs. So to push the wall back, so to speak, you need to burn fat as fuel first. So using low heart rate training, zone 2 running, means you can better, more efficiently burn fat before you then need to move over to the other system and using glycogen as fuel. So you can, over time, if you're becoming more efficient at those paces, your heart rate is going to go down, and actually you have to put less effort to run at the same pace. So it sounds counterintuitive, but actually for many people, if you run slower, you will get faster. I've got some dogs barking at me. So what I've seen in my training is, for years, I've been running now for over 14 years, and for many years I always ran too fast. I was always kind of in this middle zone of not easy, not hard, just going out for those runs, and I wasn't really having a purpose to each of my runs. Whereas now, predominantly, I'm doing zone 2 easy running, and that means sort of up to 8% of my runs a week is about building that aerobic endurance, better fat metabolization, as I've talked about, and that's enabling me to recover and to then go when I want to do a harder session, a speed session, intervals, then actually I can give that more of an effort, so I'm less fatigued from the running I've been doing for the rest of the week. So it really, you know, has completely changed the way that I run, in the sense of from going from that kind of middling zone, maybe sort of upper of zone 3, sometimes into zone 4 for most of my runs, and just thinking this is my pace. I'm now purposely slowing down and using heart rate to make sure I'm kind of keeping myself in check. Obviously, one way of trying to understand what an easy run is conversational pace, but everyone kind of can be a bit different in that respect. So heart rate is something which is a fixed measure per individual to you, which can be really clear in terms of these are my different zones. I will put something in the description about how you can calculate your zones. Also some great videos about the Verity Sense as well, just that looked at it in a bit more depth, but yeah, check those out. But for me, once you've got those zones, then I know I can use that as a guide when I'm doing zone 2 running. So that's exactly what we're doing now. We're keeping that heart rate in zone 2 and just making sure that actually I can save the legs for another day. And the difference that has made to my running, well, I can only really explain through the times that I've run. So when I first started running, I did a half marathon back in 2010 in 1 hour 37:54, something like that, and I was super pleased with that first effort. But for the next 7 years I couldn't beat that time. Now you think you're a runner, you're going to see that natural improvement, particularly in your kind of early years of running, but because I was running too fast all the time, I really wasn't training my body to get better at that aerobic effort and that efficiency, and that meant I continually ran times in around 1:37 to 1:40, and really had a massive breakthrough only now 2 and a bit years ago, so March 2022, and I went down to 1:34, having much more regularly run at zone 2. I was still doing a bit of speed work once a week, but my focus of my running was easy running, recovery running a lot of the time, and my times came down from 1:34 to then 1:31 to 1:27 at the Cambridge half marathon in March 2023, and then last year, just gone, March 2024, I did 1 hour 23 in the half marathon. So that's 14 minutes off my time in only a matter of years, and I put that down to zone 2 running. I really do. I was doing speed work pretty much all that time, so the one thing that changed was taking my easy days easy, not kidding myself, not worrying about what it says on Strava about average pace, all the rest of it, and just making sure it was truly easy. It is 9 o'clock and I've made it to parkrun just in time.
So first of all, we need to thank our amazing volunteers.
Thanks guys.
Keep going down there.
Fair play to the parkrun volunteers for all that coning off of the ice today. Love it. Thank you, Marshall. Thanks everyone.
Well done.
Thank you.
Great running, well done.
That is Letchworth Park Run done. So I'm on the way home now. I was actually planning to do a bit more chat during Letchworth Park Run, but I was feeling a bit self-conscious today with the camera, so I just thought I'll get a few shots and then we'll carry on after. So I think one thing that I probably used to do in the past is just go off pace on your watch, and the problem to that really is your pace is going to be different depending on lots of different factors, including, you know, how well you slept, recovery, the temperature is a big one. You know, that's going to affect the level of effort that you can run for whatever pace it is you're running. Today, for example, it's very cold, and so actually I can run a bit faster for the same effort. But the way to know that is through heart rate. It's a constant, you know, when it's hotter conditions, your heart rate is going to go up, and so it stops you from thinking too much about pace. And all I have on my watch when I'm doing an easy run is my heart rate. I don't look at anything else, and that just stops me kind of getting in a race with myself. All I'm focusing for that particular run is keeping it into zone 2 and keeping it easy. And I think heart rate is a good way to do that. Yes, there are other ways, and they're fine too. You know, it's about listening to your body. So to sum up then, whether it's the Polar Verity Sense, there's a Chorus arm heart rate band, or there's plenty of straps on the market. If you're looking to do more easy running and you want to be confident that what you're doing is truly easy in zone 2, zone 1, whatever you're running in, then I would thoroughly recommend getting a heart rate monitor. I find, as I say, Polar Verity Sense super comfortable, really convenient, the strap's washable, there's just plenty of battery life on it. You know, it's just, it's something you're gonna do a lot of. For me, it was worth that investment, and I would thoroughly recommend it. I paid, I think, about 80 quid for it. It can be different prices. I'll put them up now depending on whether it's in the sale or whatnot, and it's a little bit older now, so you might be able to get it cheaper. But yeah, for me, very much worth the investment. So yes, had a change of clothes because my camera died in the cold weather. Heart rate monitors are a great way to maintain your effort. Make sure you're keeping your easy days easy, as they say, and your hard days hard. It's going to be a big part of my training as I aim for a sub-3 marathon in 2025. So that is all for this one. If you got something out of the video, please do give it a like. If you've made it this far, please consider subscribing to the channel. It is completely free, just means it comes up in your feed under subscriptions, and you get to see a bit more of me, if that's of any interest.
Absolutely not.
I've got plenty of races coming up. I've got Hatfield 10k, I've got Bedford 10 mile. They're both ATW races, so if you're looking for a discount, just use my code NickGill_15 and you'll get 15% off. Maybe I'll see some of you guys there, but if not, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.